Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Trades Talk. This is the most industrial stream on a Tuesday night, and I would just so glad to see you all here. Yes, I am back. There was no streaming on the weekend due to myself being at an anime convention, and it's been a while. So it was nice to get back into the swing of things and hit up the dealer's room and see all the people cosplaying and all that. So had a really great time. The weather was just fantastic as well. And here we always have a look at things from the industrial point of view. We'll go and check out some articles. We'll see what's going on in the news. But before I get to all that, I'd like to say hello to you, Fabric Folds. How you doing, Fabric? This is the anime stream because you're going to tell us all about the fan service you experienced at the con. Well, maybe a little bit. I don't want to spoil everything because what do I have to talk about on this Sunday coming up? And hello to you too, Tanker. How's things, man? Nice to see you showing up. What is this you hear about? Anyone refusing voluntary overtime in Alberta can be arrested? What? The first time I've heard of anything like that. I don't know if I'd be able to get arrested, but that's what we have unions for as well. They should be able to stop that nonsense. But maybe something will pop up and I'll have a look into it. Let me just have a look for this. Because you bring that up, I'm going to have a look and see if there's anything about that in the news here. Alberta, volunteer time. You had 0 callouts last weekend, so you're going to need me to go. You need me to go to conventions every weekend. Oh, so it was my fault, was it? Tanker, you got 2 new games. One yesterday, one today. Hey, nice. 2 new games. Right on. Let's see what it says here. I'm just going to have a look at the news. Past week, I guess. Okay, we'll go over that after the news here. You finally deleted your wargaming account. Wow. That must have took quite a bit of like fortitude to come up and be like, I'm just deleting this. So I was looking through Plant Magazine and I saw there was a Viterra Bunge 8.2 billion merger. And it's like, okay, well, what do we got here? Bunge announced its successful merger with Viterra Limited, forming what they anticipate will be a leading global agribusiness company specializing in food, feed, and fuel. This US $8.2 billion deal was finalized nearly 6 months after the Canadian government approved the merger, having included specific terms and conditions to address competition concerns. According to a media release, Bunge CEO George Heckman stated that this union creates a more robust organization with enhanced capabilities and expertise. Viterra, a grain handling business formerly known as the Saskatchewan Wheat Pool, operates over 80 facilities across Canada. As part of the new structure, former Viterra CEO David Matiski now serves as co-chief operating officer on Bunge's executive leadership team. He joins Julio Garos, who previously held the role of Bunge's co-president of agribusiness. Okay. Don't know what this means. I'm not much into the seed part of the wheat pool or anything like that. So usually when companies get bought out, one of them suffers. But that's a big dollar merger, that's for sure. We'll have to see what happens. See if there's news later on. Because the game is a pay-to-win game and is also a gambling game. Okay, good stuff, Tanker. You don't need that kind of stuff. Pay-to-win is dumb. Also, gambling, you lose at gambling every time, so. Oh God, no, agribusiness is the bane of the farming, ranching existence. Yeah, Fabric, I don't know. Hopefully it won't impact you at all. They did say about feed and stuff like that, so if they're looking for cattle feed and such, have to wait and see. Losers will be farmers and ranchers. Oh, I hope not. We need them guys. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Automakers cautiously optimistic on EV mandate changes after meeting with Carney. Godzillionaire, you in here yet? We'll have to see what they're going to say here. You had a really lucky account. Aha. The head of an organization representing automakers said he's cautiously optimistic after meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney to urge him to repeal the electric vehicle sales mandate. See, this is what we need to do. We don't need a mandate. Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association CEO Brian Kingston joined the CEOs of Ford Canada, Stellantis Canada, and GM Canada in a meeting with the Prime Minister on Wednesday in Ottawa, along with discussing the impact of U.S. tariffs. Primary focus of the meeting, the automakers told Carney there's no way the industry can meet the targets set out in the EV mandate. Of course, it's all pie in the sky stuff. These guys have their heads just buried so deep in the sand, they don't even know. They just pick numbers out of the air. It's either that or they're doing it on purpose. Agribusiness usually lobbies for special carrots for their products. Oh, okay. The industry has long argued the mandate is unnecessary since Canada already has other policies to meet its emissions reduction targets. Also, we are such a small country, population-wise, that our emissions are nothing compared to India and China. So stop making us suffer when there's other countries that are way worse than us. We actually have rules and environmental policies to follow, whereas other countries, they don't care. Dump it in the river, pollute everything, kill people. They don't care. So our politicians are idiots that keep deciding things like this because they feel that it's a good way to oppress the people. Why would you put an EV mandate on top of your existing greenhouse gas regulations? It makes absolute no sense, Kingston told the Canadian press. Also, explain to me what a greenhouse gas is. Tell me exactly what that is. Now, what's changed since it was designed and came into force is that we've had this collapse in EV sales. Yes, and we've heard about this. People aren't rushing to go and get EVs like they thought they were going to. They're probably like, oh yeah, people are willing and able, and they're so happy to go spend $60,000 and more to buy an electric car. No, they're not. Until you can make them $10,000, you're not going to get people rushing out to buy them. Even then, they probably won't. Only one way to call Godzilla in air, deep breath. Hydrogen batteries are the wave of the future and perfectly safe. Yeah, I know it gets him here. You just got to say it, right? Hydrogen cell, hydrogen cell, hydrogen cell. And then, boom, he appears. What the game had me on was a gambling spree, and you couldn't keep your tanks and ships on the... Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. It said carrots. Carve-outs. Okay, carve-outs. I gotcha. Greenhouse gas equals you farting in the arboretum. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Little methane dissipates. It's all good. The EV sales mandate requires that 20% of all new light-duty vehicles sold in Canada next year be zero emission. The target rises annually to 100% by 2035. Most recent data from Statistics Canada shows EVs accounted for just 7.3% of the new vehicles sold in Canada. Not even 10%. So these guys are they're just stupidly going ahead with this. EV sales peaked at 18% in December, the last month before funding ran out of the popular zero-emission vehicle. And people were only buying because they were getting a rebate. Okay. Well, I think we went over this the last time, that they were thinking about coming back with the rebate again. Known as IZEV, the rebates offered up to $5,000 off the cost of a new electric vehicle, but the program suspended in January, and that month sales dipped to 11%. Sales fell a further 6% in February with the loss of the federal rebate program, and 6.53% in March. They climbed slightly in April after Quebec reintroduced its own provincial rebate, which will be gradually phased out by January 2027. So people don't buy these things unless they're paid to. Because as soon as the rebates go away, that's it. They're like, no, I'm not buying it. Too expensive. If we were going to hit the 2026 mandated target of 20% EV sales, you would have to grow ZEV sales by 180,000 units. There's simply no way that can occur on such a short timeline given all the current market forces at play. Yep. While the government has indicated it plans to bring back some form of consumer rebate for electric vehicles, Kingston said making such a promise without a firm timeline for implementation promises to undermine EV sales even further. Industry Minister Mélanie Joly said in May the government was looking to bring back support programs for EVs last month. Environment Minister Julie Dabruzin told the Canadian Press that Ottawa is working on bringing back a rebate program. Yeah, well, I think we touched on this the last time. They didn't know what or when it was coming, but they wanted to do something. They're pushing the EV mandate. Trump's term ends in 2028, but we'll lend him to Kazakhstan for a percentage of the maple syrup. Yeah, please do. Fabric, please send them on up. The Liberal Party's election platform promised to look at ways to reintroduce a purchase incentive worth up to $5,000. Even if I had an incentive, I'm not buying one. I don't care. I'm going to buy a gas engine car, and I'm going to drive it, and I'm going to take it to a mechanic regularly so I can keep that thing running, for the next 30 years, 40 years. I'm going to do whatever I can to keep running a gas engine car. Comments from ministers and the public suggesting that an EV incentive is coming back are extremely damaging. If the government is going to bring it back, they've got to be clear about the plan and the timeline. Governments are never clear about anything, so you're hoping. You're just wishing for stuff, and you're never going to get a straight answer out of anybody in the government. Hey, James, how you doing, man? How's things in old Michigan? Doing okay? It has to be quick, because if you tell people it's going to be in 3 months, then no one will purchase an EV for the next 3 months. Transport Canada is holding consultations on the rebate program. Hyundai Canada CEO Steve Flamand, who has called for the rebate to return, is meeting with department officials to discuss it next week. For us, the program worked quite well. Well, of course, people are coming to buy your EVs. Of course, you're going to like it. He added the sudden end of the IZEV program disrupted his company's supply chains. Really? So because people weren't getting subsidized to buy your cars, it disrupted your supply chains? That sounds like a load of garbage. I don't believe that for a minute. I think he's lying. Tanker, you had no choice but to delete it because of the way that you were playing it. Yeah, man. Do what's best for you, especially if you don't have to pay extra money for a game, don't. Running electric in Canada in the not cities is fucking foolish. Yeah, James, I know. Obviously, it needs to be predictable. It needs to be stable because our business does not shift in a matter of a couple of days. It pivots in a matter of 6 months tranches. Flaman said his company isn't opposed to the EV mandate as long as it aligns with market demand. Well, I don't know if we can ever say it will. As we've seen in the past here, the past articles I've read, market demand just drops off a cliff, especially if the government's not going to have a rebate. And even when there is a rebate, you only get 18% buying EVs. So I say just stop it. Don't even do it anymore. We believe in the cause, but right now I think 20%, it's not realistic. Nobody's going to do that. So having an unrealistic mandate without the natural market demand for it is a recipe for disaster. Hey, that's what the government's best at, causing their own problems. Kingston said bringing back the rebate program wouldn't be enough on its own to meet the EV mandate. Just to give you a sense of what cost would be if you were to try and put in place a $5,000 incentive, increase sales by an additional 180,000 vehicles to meet the 2026 target, you'd be talking about nearly $1 billion in spending. That is not a sustainable policy. The government spent nearly $3 billion in 5 years on its EV rebates program. That's just a waste of money. $3 billion in 5 years on rebates, just to coerce people to buy electric cars. Just downright insane. Running electric in Wyoming is downright suicidal. Imagine Michigan is too cold for EVs too. You guys get that wind off of Erie. Oh yeah, they would. Cold takes away too much range. That's not range anxiety. That's, I don't want to die. I don't want my wife and kids. Yeah, that's exactly it, James. It's not range anxiety. It's like, yeah, I don't want this to be my coffin. You know, does your car come complete with its own, wreath so that when you die in it, they can just take you and bury you in it? Here's an article here. Make a Captain Obvious video about it. Thanks, Captain Obvious. This one here says Canada begins to diversify its trade, but the U.S. tariffs still a heavyweight. They're talking about just beginning to. You know how stupid that is to not be diversified already? Canada's efforts to broaden trade beyond the United States appear to be bearing fruit, but economists warn it will be a long road before Canadian exporters settle at a new status quo. Statistics Canada said Thursday that the country's merchandise trade deficit, the difference between how much we ship out and how much we bring in, narrowed to $5.9 billion in May as gold exports climbed higher. The result compares with a trade deficit of $7.6 billion seen in April, a record high, which StatsCan said Thursday was revised up from the initial estimates of $7.1 billion. Canadian exports got a boost in the early part of 2025 as businesses rushed to get ahead of U.S. tariffs, but that pull forward has left weaker activity in April and May. They should have expected a drop-off. I mean, it just makes sense. Everyone's rushing to get stuff before the tariffs. What's going to happen? Do you think people are going to keep buying after the tariffs come in? There's going to be a drop-off, obviously. After a relatively strong start to the year, real gross domestic product figures from StatsCan show a 0.1% decline in April, and early estimates suggest there was a similar decline in May. Your EV doesn't become a coffin, but that battery has a great heat event. It's known as a crematorium. That's it. Yeah, that's it, Fabric. Yeah. It's a portable crematorium. Despite what the numbers would say on a monthly basis, the fact is that trade backdrop does remain a challenge, said Shelley Koshik, senior economist at BMO. BMO is just a bank. Excluding the bump from metal and non-metallic mineral products, total exports fell for 1.2% in May as exports to the United States dropped 0.9%. So not even a percent, 0.9%. StatCan said U.S. exports declined to the fourth consecutive month in May amid the ongoing trade dispute. Imports also fell for the third straight month. Canada's share of exports headed to the U.S. was 68.3% in May, down from the 2024 monthly average of 75.9%. James, you may have met the person who invented that, former coworker from a restaurant in Bloomfield. She probably got no money for it. I wouldn't doubt it. Be gone, bot. Let's see. Oh, yes. A StatCan spokesman said that the lowest proportion of exports headed south of the border since the agency started keeping track in 1997, excluding the pandemic years. Koshik said that as it still accounts for more than 2/3 of exports, the United States remains Canada's biggest export market and likely will for the foreseeable future. Well, yeah, I mean, we're right next door. We both have products that we need. Captain Obvious thing, used it often around 2007, 2008. Oh, yeah, yeah. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Those were great. Even with a variety of tariffs in place, particularly on steel and aluminum industries, Chock said that many businesses will still find it a better deal to sell their goods across the enormous Canada-US land border rather than ship overseas or even cross-country. It's just a matter of the fact that they're our largest neighbor, but they're also the largest economy in the world, she said. If this desire to diversify away from the United States is sustained, they're still going to take many months or even years to do. StatsCan said the exports to countries other than the United States rose 5.7% in the month, reached an all-time high. Total exports were up 1.1% in May at $60.8 billion as exports of metal and non-metallic mineral products increased 15.1% in May. Driving the change was a 30.1% increase in exports of unwrought gold, silver, and platinum group metals and their alloys, a category largely composed of unwrought gold. Most of that increase was pegged to higher physical shipments of gold to the United Kingdom. Oh, really? If it's advertising for prawn, it's appropriate to write begone thought. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly, James. Begone thought. We went through the same thing in the mid-'80s and we were just fine. Yeah, fabric. I know. It's like it's cyclical, but people forget. Either people forget or, they're willfully ignorant or they just weren't around to know that we went through this already. So it's like a giant cycle. It comes and goes, and it just so happens we're at the bottom of the cycle this time around. Total merchandise trade to nations other than the U.S. hit $47.6 billion in May, which the agency said was the third consecutive all-time high. In addition to UK-bound gold, StatsCan said higher shipments of crude oil to Singapore and unwrought aluminum and pharmaceuticals to Italy were offset by declines in exports to China. I mean, big deal. I don't care if we export to China or not. Yeah, they've got a lot of people there, but they're poor. That's the 64 Canadian dollar question. Andrew de Capua, principal economist for the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, said in a statement Thursday that trade diversification gains are encouraging, but the obstacles at the U.S. border won't be undone quickly. The worst may be behind us, but the road back will likely be uneven, he said. At the G7 summit in Kananaskis, Alberta last month, Prime Minister Mark Carney and U.S. President Donald Trump agreed to hammer out a renewed trade pact with an eye to a July 21st deadline. Chock noted previous deadlines in the trade dispute have come and gone, with barely any clarity materializing since what she called the peak of uncertainty in April. Though May's trade figures mark an improvement from April, Chock said the monthly data can be volatile. And while BMO expects there will be a bit more certainty on the trade front as the year goes on, she said Canada's exporters are going to continue to struggle. I think the big picture still has pretty clear that trade is going to remain quite challenged with this highly uncertain trade environment. That's going to continue to be heavyweight on the Canadian economy. Meanwhile, total imports fell 1.6% in May to $66.7 billion as imports of metal, non-metallic mineral products dropped 16.8%. Imports of unwrought gold, silver, and platinum group metals plunged 43.2%. Wow. In volume terms, total exports rose 0.7% in May, while total imports fell 0.6%. We're talking like 0.7%. I think they're making a big deal over nothing. In the 1980s, we didn't have BlackRock, Vanguard, and the other REITs buying up single-family homes and pricing people out of the market. Copulators? Speculators. No, I get it. Those guys at BlackRock and all that, they have way too much power. Way too much. Canadian manufacturing downturn accelerates in June. Premiers Daniel Smith and Doug Ford agreed to study new energy corridor, more trade. That's trade between Alberta and Ontario. Someone brought up Commodore 64 in an effort to bring back retro computing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember playing on the Commodore 64. Or I think it was a 128. But anyways, I remember gaming on that. Yeah, that looks like that's it for the news from Plant Magazine. Let's move along here. Here, I found this one here. This is what, I don't know if this is what Fabric was talking about. Oh, real estate investment trusts. Okay, REITs. I gotcha. Union president fired after encouraging illegal work refusal. Dishonest dealings with your employer always merit severe discipline. A lawyer says that. An Alberta arbitrator has upheld the firing of a union president from his job for his involvement in an illegal strike and his dishonesty during the employer's investigation into the matter. The worker was a driver for Coca-Cola Canada Bottling in the company's Edmonton distribution center. Hired in 2007, he delivered the company's products from the facility to customers in the area. The collective agreement stipulated that Coca-Cola had the discretion for final allocation of delivery routes for the drivers, although for several years the company allowed drivers to choose their daily delivery routes based on seniority. In May 2023, the worker was elected union president, although he didn't have much experience in union business. A few weeks later, on June 16th, the company notified the union that it would be ending the practice of allowing drivers to select their own routes and exercising its right under the collective agreement to select routes itself. You're pretty sure your old 64 isn't one of those garage or shed somewhere? That's the one? Okay, good. Someone took your cat. You're not in a good... Oh, James. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's just out having a walk. 3 days later, the company asked all drivers on the overtime rotation list to perform off-duty overtime the next day. No drivers responded to the call-out, and 13 product routes were held for delivery until the next day. On June 20th, the company made another call for off-duty overtime for the next day, but again, no drivers responded. 22 of the product routes had to be held for delivery until June 22nd. A call for off-duty overtime on June 21st and June 22nd had the same result, delaying 20 product routes on the first day and 22 on the next day. On June 23rd, the company called 22 drivers for off-duty overtime work, and the next day, and 6 agreed. During this period, on June 21st, management instructed the worker to tell the drivers to resume volunteering for off-duty overtime, and the worker replied that he would, but he couldn't force them. However, he didn't send any such message to the drivers until 2 days later. The company suspected the worker was involved in the drivers refusing to perform off-duty overtime work, so it placed him on administrative leave with pay on June 27th, pending the results of an investigation, then retained an independent third-party investigator. On June 30th, Coca-Cola filed an application with the Alberta Labour Relations Board, alleging that the union and certain bargaining unit members engaged in an illegal strike contrary to the Alberta Labour Relations Code. A week later, the board determined that the union had engaged in an illegal strike, despite the fact that the worker had stated to the board that he hadn't instigated a work stoppage. The investigator interviewed the worker and several other employees and reviewed text messages between the worker and other drivers. The text messages including the worker telling another driver, "We are looking to stop doing OT starting next week," requesting all drivers not to work overtime for the next week, June 19th and 24th, and no overtime this week. Still a go. He also sent 2 text messages to drivers saying they could be forced to do overtime, but only on their shifts, not when off duty. The investigation proceeded appropriately by interviewing relevant people and demanding the text messages related to the matter be given the seriousness of the allegations, according to Joseph Oppenheim, a labor and employment lawyer at Cabert White in Calgary. The law is pretty clear that when an employee leads or encourages others to participate in an unlawful strike, then termination of employment can be justified, and dishonest dealings with your employer also merits severe discipline. He says, so Coca-Cola was right to ask those questions and pursue those lines of investigation. The investigator completed the investigation on July 19th, submitting a final report finding that the worker encouraged and incited employees to participate in the illegal strike. There's the one Chinese restaurant in the area that got busted serving cat on some years back, made the local paper, not engaging in defamation. Yeah. Company was wrong to require off-shift OT, but the union rep was wrong for putting it in right. Yeah, well, he's got a duty to let the drivers know, but it sounds like he was the mastermind behind that. He was the guy telling them that they're going to stop working overtime off their shift. Hey, Ars, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Sadly, you're your own boss. Yeah. You listen to who's in charge, right, Fabric? Tell yourself what to do. 2 days later, Coca-Cola terminated the worker's employment for his leading role in the strike and abusing his role as union president. The union grieved the termination. The arbitrator noted that an employee can't be disciplined for joining a union or participating in lawful labor actions, but they can be disciplined for inappropriate behavior during a lawful strike or in an illegal strike. The level of discipline depends on the employee's degree of involvement or leadership in the illegal strike, said the arbiter. The arbitrator found that the worker had played a significant role in the planning and execution of the work stoppage. The text messages provided as evidence showed that he encouraged drivers not to decline off-duty overtime shifts, including one text that specifically stated he was requesting all drivers not to work off-duty overtime for the next week, June 19th to 24th, and another group message confirming that the plan was proceeding. Yeah, Coca-Cola couldn't afford the OT. Yeah. The arbitrator noted that it wasn't necessary to determine if the worker was the singular leader of the strike, just that he played a significant role in planning, discouraging, and leading it. The arbitrator also found that the worker misled the company. While the illegal strike was happening on June 21st, he said that he would urge drivers to return to off-duty overtime work, but he didn't send a text until 2 days later, the arbitrator said. The worker claimed that he made individual phone calls after management's instruction, but the arbitrator said that strains credulity, given all other communication was done by text message, which was the most efficient manner, advising the drivers collectively on any labor action. Intentional misleading of your employer has long been considered misconduct that's deemed to destroy the relationship between employer and employee. An arbitrator or court is tasked with trying to assess whether, objectively speaking, one can expect the parties to the relationship to be able to work together constructively again. And when you have intentional misleading of your employer, trust is broken at that point. Smart union rep would have phoned instead of texting. Never leave it. Yes, exactly, Fabric. Exactly. It's possible that a company in Texas caused the lethal flood via cloud seeding. No way, James. Is that what they're saying, though? Can't they just leave the damn weather alone? Stop screwing around. You don't need to seed the clouds or anything like that. Nothing good ever comes of it. The arbitrator pointed out to the worker's role as union president, who could influence the actions of union members, as an aggravating factor, along with inconsistencies between his statements to the labor board, and who is not instigating a work stop or strike. There's a significant distinction between those who lead or encourage workers to participate in a legal strike versus those who simply go along with the group, says Oppenheim. Workers can be forgiven for participating if it's not their idea. They're not expected to do their own legal analysis and push back against leadership, he says. But for an employee who's leading the charge, particularly the president of the union, there's a responsibility to ensure that what you're doing is in fact lawful. And if you fail to do that and recklessly lead the charge, then that can be grounds for serious discipline. It's just a different order of culpability. Although the worker claimed that he was inexperienced in labor relations, the arbitrator found, how did he get elected union president then? If this nutcase was like, oh, I don't have any experience at all, and he got elected as union president? Like, something's wrong there. Something's fishy. You gotta be kidding. You've had employers not pay for work performed. You'd say that it corrodes relationships. Yeah, it does. Exactly, it does. The weather's bad enough without them screwing with it. We had hail for the last... Yeah, Fabric, I agree. I suspect the board had to wrestle with the workers' inexperience a little bit, but ultimately, when you take on the mantle of being a president or senior officer of the union, that comes with responsibility to do your due diligence and ensure that when you're going to lead the union or the members in a disruption like this, that there's legal grounds to do it. Whether you're on the job for a year or a day, that responsibility exists. And if you're inexperienced, that just means you have to be that much more careful and learn the limits of your leadership. The workers' illegal and dishonest conduct during the work stoppage, his dishonesty in Coca-Cola's investigation, and his failure to demonstrate candor during the arbitration hearing all undermine the trust necessary for an ongoing employment relationship. The arbitrator said in denying the grievance and upholding the dismissal. This case is an example of how dismissal can be justified when the employer conducts itself at a high standard in investigating misconduct and the employee in question doesn't, according to Oppenheim. Conducting an investigation professionally and lawfully with procedural fairness, that's always important for employers, and that's what's happened in this case. It says, we were all, and where an employee conducts himself dishonestly and dishonorably, you don't have to tolerate it. Understanding that dishonesty as a red flag is important because I think often employers are too willing to tolerate that kind of misconduct. And as a result, it can lead to problems in the workforce, including poor morale because employees who seek to do a good job see that management tolerates bad behavior. Yeah, the guy is too close to be a union president. I don't know how he got elected, Fabric. I don't know. Did the link come through? Oh, yeah, it did. Yep. Supposed to be a link, Season 2 Underground channel. Oh, The Wire.
This is The Wire for 2300 Zulu, July 8th, 2025. President's is routine. Information cutoff is 2200. Bottom line up front. White House reverses stance on...
Yeah, you guys can listen, or you guys can watch it. I'm going to keep going here. Okay, next up. Okay, so, yeah. All to do with Coca-Cola and some idiot. Yeah, channel's S2 Underground. Gotcha, Fabric. But yeah, this was all just Coca-Cola and some numbskull who figured he was going to be, get back at the company or something. I don't know. Maybe he had a grudge, but he was a driver and then he became the union president. I don't know how he pulled that off. I mean, you have to have some gift of the gab, or maybe he knew how to talk to people or coerce them. I don't know, but the guy became president and then he just screwed around and found out. So, no sympathy for that guy. Here's one that I found too. Article, NAIT pilots skilled trade summer sessions in response to labor demand. So NAIT is a trade school in northern Alberta. Every summer, NAIT campuses host a variety of skilled tradesmen, most of them contractors working on construction and renovation projects dedicated to the growth and evolution of the Polytechnic. Unlike previous years, however, this season NAIT is hosting a large contingent in the classrooms and shops as apprentices in electrician, crane and hoist equipment operator, millwright, and pipe trades, a common first period for steam fitter, pipe fitter, gas fitter, and plumber. He was promoted to his level of incompetence. That's the rule, right? Running June through August, the summer sessions are a pilot project in response to the rising demand for skilled workers. The overall labor market shortage is driving this, said Josh Boyd, director of NAIT's Office of Apprenticeship. A lot of retirements are coming. And we knew that. Well, first off, they start off with a girl sticking her hand in here. She's going to be an electrician, it looks like. And then you got this guy. He's got a little bit of green in his hair. Also, he's holding a torch and he's doing some brazing. For God's sakes, put a skull cap on. Protect your hair. What little of it you have left. You want to get sparks in your hair and get it on fire? Put a skull cap on. Put a welder's cap on. I know you're just doing brazing, but protect yourself. Also, those are not welding goggles. You're going to stare at that flame. And your eyes you're going to wonder why you have a big spot in front of your eyes. Get some welding goggles on. They just have to be a shade number 5. They don't have to be anything really too dark. And use that instead, you numbskull. Yeah, she's gonna die! That's okay. Yeah, the disconnect is in the off position. I can see it here in the picture. So it should be de-energized. She should be okay. But this guy, skull cap, welding glasses, even a face shield. because you get a hot piece of solder or something jumping off there and it hits you in the face, you're going to be screaming murder. Carhartt is not made anywhere in North America anymore. It is? Is it? Not even Mexico? Oh, really? Carhartt's not made in North America anymore? It's one way to defeat DEI. Yeah, James. Safety first. Oh, yes, fabric. Yes. Probably AI generated. Unfortunately, I hate AI stuff. I just it's like, okay, she's got her hair tied back. That's good. She's doing coupling alignment, which is, that's good too. Old fashioned way. She's got the dials out. She's got got those things clamped on there, and she's going to do coupling alignment. I mean, out in it, like, you won't bust out the gauges unless you're on a really old site that doesn't have anything, but because even now they'll use laser aligners. Feck AI. Yeah, you got her, James. According to Alberta's short-term employment forecast, technical trades, helpers, and laborers are among the 45 of 62 occupations expected to see an imminent shortfall. Stretched thin, a report released in October 2024 makes more dire projections. In fact, 700,000 retirements are expected in skilled trades occupations by 2028, says the Business Council of Alberta. In the construction industry alone, a full 22% of workers will retire by 2030. Well, not this guy. I'm going to be around for a little bit longer. Boyd recognizes the urgency of those timelines. That older population is exiting faster than we are able to get young individuals into the trades, he says, considering risking rising provincial metrics such as population, housing starts, and GDP. A shortage of teaching space has also made keeping pace difficult. These currently aren't enough classrooms and labs at NAIT to accommodate more apprentices in traditional winter and fall sessions. I don't know. I'd call that into question. That's particularly true for those seeking careers in pipe trades or as electricians or millwrights, programs that regularly see lengthy wait lists. The 3-year forecast for each is considered hot by ALIS, a Government of Alberta career development resource. The new intakes will help meet the need, accommodating as many as 140 apprentices across all the summer sessions, each one roughly 2 months long. Most are already full. Hey, Alex Moore, how you doing? Good to see you, Alex. Wherever the recent expansion leads in coming years to make more intakes swap for trades or additions, Boyd expects it to start changing the culture around meeting the demand. That is, education in a growing number of apprenticeship programs could prove to be a year-round endeavor at the Polytechnic. NAIT's obligation within the apprenticeship ecosystem is to support the Alberta economy, says Boyd, so we'll do whatever we need to do so we can be agile and future-focused and meet the demand in new and unique ways. As NAIT looks to continue to support the ongoing growth and evolution of the province, we're just finding ways to release those pressure valves, he adds. Well, they got to do more. They got to do more. Start in elementary school. Get them interested then. You're promptly gone in 2029. That's when you're going to retire, Fabric? Just walk into a store that sells Carhartt. Look at the tags. It's another import charging top dollar on company. Yes, company reputation. No, Alex, there was not a show on Sunday. Saturday and Sunday, I was at an anime convention. It was a nice trip. It was a 5-hour drive. And yeah, it was really good. We had a great time, me and the missus. It was nice getting back into the swing of things. I'll talk a little bit more a little later. So that's this article. This is for all my American friends here. Job Corps closure sparks skilled trade shortage. 3 undervalued equities to watch. The suspension of the Job Corps program, America's largest vocational training initiative, has sent shockwaves through the skilled trades labor market, with 99 contractor-operated centers slated to close by June 30th, 2025. The U.S. faces a projected deficit of over 500,000 workers in the trades like construction, welding, and manufacturing. This labor shortage isn't just a temporary blip It's a secular trend driven by an aging workforce, declining vocational education, and the shuttering of a program that trained 25,000 low-income youth annually. For investors, this presents a rare opportunity to capitalize on companies positioned to thrive amid the scarcity. Yes, part of the reputation from Carhartt was made in the USA, James. Exactly. Yeah, Alex. Early on, the imagination is in full gear. Get them interested. Yep, 100%. I agree. You'll turn 63. That's when you close your practice. You'll still be running the ranch full time, though. Oh, okay. Hopefully you have somebody you can pass the ranch on to, because, you don't want to keep, depending on how much you have to do at the ranch, you want to be able to enjoy your retirement. The Job Corps program was a critical pipeline for training young people in highest demand trades. Graduates earned certifications in fields such as construction, electrical work, and welding, skills now in desperately short supply. With the program's closure, industries relying on these workers face rising labor costs, project delays, and increased competition for scarce talent. This dynamic creates a perfect storm for companies that can either mitigate labor risks or benefit from rising demand for infrastructure materials and automation. You'll be down to one full-time job. Yeah. Goddamn foolishness. Yeah, James, it sounds like it. 3 undervalued equities to capitalize on the labor shortage. Number 1, Lincoln Electric Holdings, welding equipment and training leader. Why it's in play. Lincoln Electric is the world's largest manufacturer of arc welding equipment and a leader in vocational training programs. With Job Corps graduates accounting for a significant portion of welders, the closure of the program directly benefits LECO, the company's Lincoln Welding School, and partnerships with community colleges allow it to train workers internally, reducing reliance on external programs. LECO's stock has underperformed in recent years, trading at a PE ratio of 14.5, well below its 5-year average. However, rising demand for automation-friendly welding solutions to offset labor shortages and infrastructure projects under the CHIPS Act could ignite growth. The ranch is on your wife's allotment. Oh, okay. Not wrong. Farming, ranching is a full-time gig that pays for shit. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. And we need our ranchers. Vulcan Materials Company, aggregate supplier to infrastructure boom. What's in play? Vulcan Materials is the nation's largest producer of construction aggregates, sand, gravel, cement. As labor shortages delay construction projects, demand for materials like asphalt and concrete remains resilient due to federal infrastructure spending, which is necessary. We all need infrastructure to be maintained. Otherwise, bad things happen. The company's geographic footprint, spanning 22 states with high infrastructure needs, aligns with regions hardest hit by Job Corps closures, such as Texas and California. VMC's stock trades at 11.8 times forward earnings, a discount of its historical average, with the bipartisan infrastructure law allocating $550 billion towards roads, bridges, and public transit. Vulcan stands to benefit from rising demand. Caterpillar. What's in play? Caterpillar construction and mining equipment reduces the need for specialized labor by automating tasks like excavation and material handling. As labor shortages drive up project costs, companies will increasingly prioritize machinery over manual labor. CAT's partnerships with vocational programs, the National Association of Home Builders, also position it to train the next generation of skilled operators. Not just operators, but you're going to need heavy equipment technicians as well. The ranch actually makes a profit, but he didn't always. Oh, good to know. Good to know, Faber. Trump going to let illegal farm workers to stay? Guess he flinched. Good thing he can't be real. CAT stock trades at 13 times forward earnings, undervalued relative to its 5-year average. Autonomous equipment sales have surged 20% annually since 2020, a trend set to accelerate as labor scarcity intensifies. The Job Corps suspension isn't just a headline, it's a catalyst for the decades-long trend of skilled labor shortages. Companies like LECO, VMC, and CAT are uniquely positioned to capitalize on this shift. LECO benefits from its training infrastructure and welding equipment sales. VMC gains from infrastructure spending that's less labor dependent, and CAT profits by automating construction processes and reducing labor needs. All three offer attractive valuations and exposure to secular trends in automation, infrastructure spending, and vocational training gaps. The risks and considerations: regulatory pushback, legal challenges to the Job Corps closure, injunction blocking shutdowns could delay the labor shortage's impact, economic downturn or recessions could reduce infrastructure spending and construction demand, alternative training programs, new public-private initiatives could alleviate labor shortages faster than expected. Conclusion: a labor shortage catalyst for value plays. The Job Corps suspension is a turning point for skilled trades labor markets. Investors should focus on companies that can either mitigate the labor risks or profit from the scarcity. Lincoln Electric, Vulcan Materials, and Caterpillar offer compelling valuations and strategic advantages in a landscape where labor scarcity is the new normal. With infrastructure spending and automation trends on the rise, these equities are poised to outperform as the skilled trades crisis unfolds. Don't forget, you're still going to need the people to work on the equipment. Never mind operating it, working on it and repairing it. You're always going to need that. Caterpillar made in China? Yeah, I figured, James. No way Caterpillar is valued at 13 times, maybe 6 times valuation of that. Ah, okay, Faber. You remember Kramer screaming bye, bye, bye 20 years ago? Ask. Yeah. Oh, that's the guy on the TV there, yeah. Well, okay, that's that for that article. Well, now, shall we get to picture time? Because, it's picture time. It's picture time. I knew you guys like picture time. And did you like my title for the, my little subtitle for the stream? Chalk it up. You know what I'm going to be getting at, aren't you? Anyways, I'll get it all set up here. So not only pictures, but video and story time. You guys like story time. Let's do like this. There we go. Kramer did and he was wrong. Yeah. By the time it comes out to some Yahoo on the television, it's too late. There's no way we can keep up with anything to do with trading or making money in the stock market, because by the time you hear about it, it's too late. It's called Mad Money, not Making Money, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's roll the video here. So I walked outside and I saw this big, long streak on the pavement. And I'm like, what is this? Chalk it up. Is this the anime upskirts? Not yet. But there's this big long line in the pavement. And I'm like, what the hell is this from? What's going on? So I followed it. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I got to the front gate. And I actuated it so it would open. No, it's not an oil leak, James. You'll see. That's where I found that. It's a wheel chock. And I found it outside the gate. Upskirt time. So that's the video I took. I'm just going to grab the pictures now. So there it is. As you can see, it shouldn't look like that. So this is obviously a wheel chock that the truck drivers put under their trailer. So when they're getting loaded, it won't move or anything like that. Or at least move very far. It should stop the trailer from rolling. As you can see, it shouldn't look like that. And that's where I found it. That's funnier than an oil leak. Thanks, James. So this thing should be sitting flat on the ground. Someone forgot to unchock their wheels and dry. Yep, they sure did, Fabric. That's exactly what happened. The truck driver, who is supposed to walk around his trailer and check before he leaves, did not. Look at that. You would feel if you're dragging it? I would hope so. This is just him not caring. Points for effort, humble wheel Chock. Yeah, yeah. I know. It tried to stop him, it dug its little heart into the pavement, tried to stop that big bad trailer from moving. How did the driver not? I don't know. He probably didn't even care. Some of these guys just don't care. Look at this. I had to hold this thing up. Look at that. It rubbed off a good half inch going from the loading dock to outside the gate. Maybe even more. That's messed up. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, look at that. And then I got a picture of the bottom, what the bottom looked like. So it's just decimated the thing. Like the abrasion is just incredible. Wore it so much that the first two rows are coming apart. There you go. There's a better shot of it. Look at this thing. Just mangled. Drugs are bad, okay? But that's the thing. You're a truck driver. You're a professional, okay? What is it? It's CDL in the US, and in Canada it's Class 1. If you're a truck and trailer, it's Class 1, air brake endorsed. You are considered a professional driver. You do it for a living. There's certain things you must do. Always walk around your vehicle when you're going to leave. Especially when he was told, chock your wheels while you get loaded. So he's the one that put the chock under there in the first place to get loaded. When you're going to leave, unchock your wheels and then leave. Funny part is next week driver will be asking around about his missing chock. Yeah. Actually, these are our chocks. These are not even the driver's chocks. We provide the wheel chocks. It's almost a block of solid rubber and the driver. Yeah. Yeah. But you do this for a living. You are a professional driver. You know? You're lucky if they're sober. I'm sure some of them are like that. And some of them, they don't have the skills to be a truck driver. Some of them have a hell of a time even backing their trailer in. That's the worrying part. It's like, wow, you guys are, you're a professional driver and you can't even back your trailer up. CDL, one is semis, gravel trains, etc. Yeah. But that's what you're getting. You're getting guys that just are not taking the time and attention and the care they need to be that next level. Like, don't be an average driver. Be above that. Set your sights on being better than average. It will make your life so much easier. So now we're going to report to the trucking company that they owe us a wheel chock and they're going to buy us one. It's like your guy wrecked this wheel chock. You are going to pay for a new one for us. We should not have to. I bet the driver doesn't speak English. I don't know. I didn't meet him. I didn't get to see him. But yeah, it's amazing. You know, it's like, oh, I found this. And the only reason I found it is I was leaving work for the day. I was 3:00. I'm heading out the gate and I'm like, what is that out in the middle of the road? So I got out and I'm like, oh man, it's a wheel chock. So I grabbed it and took it back to the shop and yeah. A Quebec driver. Oh, I don't stop for nothing. I'm going to deliver my load to the people. And I'm nothing going to stop me, not even a wheel chock, eh? Everyone is allowed a bad day, yes, making a betting pool to see if that driver does it again. Yeah, we got money on it, eh? Next time the guy shows up, it's like, okay, who's in the wheel chock pool? We'll see if he drives off with another one. They aren't that expensive, but it's just the hassle. I think they're $60 a piece or something like that. You want to get a good one. You don't want to get a garbage one. Yeah, exactly. Fabric's got a point. How does he not feel that? You should be able to feel a drag on your trailer. If you're a good truck driver and you're driving away, and should be able to feel a drag and think to yourself, "Oh, that's not right." Stop, have a look. Also, like I said, just a walk around. Do the walk around from your trailer. Look underneath. Okay, yep, that's good. Or pull the chock out. CDL2 is like straight trucks, garbage trucks, the most common job. Oh, okay, yeah. I try to remember here. I think class 1 here in Canada is truck and trailer. Class 2 is like buses. Class 3 is like gravel trucks. And class 4 is taxi. Class 5 is just regular passenger car. And class 6 is motorcycle. Booze or meth explain it. He's just doped up. That's all there is to it. No, there's a difference. You know, there's good truck drivers and then there's just average truck drivers or poor truck drivers that they bought their license. They didn't get it legally or in the correct fashion. They just went and bought it or lied about it, and they just get in behind the wheel and they just start driving. So, and then stuff like this happens. You get a poor little wheel chock who just got himself just decimated. It did its job, though. It tried its hardest to keep that trailer from moving. Good thing it was just one. If they would have had two, maybe he wouldn't have moved. Maybe it would have gave him pause. Maybe he would have paused for, checking what's going on. I wish I would have caught it on video as he was doing it. That would have made good YouTube content. That would have been great for a short or something. Buses is chauffeur or license, which you have, but you'll never be employed on a bus driver with your driving record. Oh, okay. Like I say, in Canada, it's different. It's different licensing system completely, James. I know it's going to be different from the US. So yeah, that's my chalk it up story. A little chalk that could. All right. Sounds pretty similar. Yeah, I guess it could be. Shouldn't be too far off. And we don't forget we always have crossing the border Canadians, Americans come up. We get guys from Tennessee and stuff like that coming up here, and obviously drivers from here go down into the States, drive around there. All right, a little bit about the anime convention I went to. Let me find a page here. New girl, J'accuse. You mean for my background? Fabric? Nothing wrong with Ririsa from 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. This was a great show. I don't know if I'd tell Godzillionaire about it. He binge watched My Dress Up Darling, so this one was 24 episodes. I don't want to have to like be responsible for him burning like a couple of days watching this one. Motorcycle rating is a regular operator license plus a motorcycle endorsement in Michigan. Probably different fabric folds neighbors. You parlez-vous de français? Zut alors! Fabriqué. Il parle en français. Je understand. Or I should say, je comprends. What do we got here? Oh, yes. It was GunBateCon. Hey, what's up, DJ Ronnie G? What's up, DJ? How you doing? So me and the wife went to GunBateCon. And it was in Saskatoon. So we drove there. It was right after work too, so I went right from work, grabbed our suitcases and such, and we were gone. Just woof. And it was a good drive, very sunny out, good conditions. We even saw some wildlife on the way. There was a bison, and we saw a moose crossing the highway. That was a little scary. A lot of people were slowing down just in case he bolted in front of everybody. No accidents, though. You don't want to get into an accident with a moose because you're usually on the losing end of that. Because they usually come right in the front windshield and make a mess of you. So, yeah. We saw that. I think she said she saw a coyote. And what else did we see? That's about it. Just for stuff along the highway. Motorcycle license, completely separate license with a completely separate test in Wyoming, but it doesn't expire. Oh, nice. If you get more explicit, you're guessing YouTube will delete your chat. Probably, James. Yeah, so can't get tickets, but yeah, it was 2 days. 2 days of trolling around the exhibitor hall and buying some merch and having some food. So it was a good time. It wasn't giant. Like, it was not a giant convention, which is good. It was sort of a mid-sized convention. We had ourselves a nice hotel within walking distance. We picked up some merch while we were there, and I'll have videos on doing some unboxings of some of the figures I bought. Moose is basically a draft horse with antlers. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, we on both sides of the highway, we slowed down for that moose. And once we saw that the moose, we were gonna be passing by him, and he wasn't gonna bolt in front of us, there we were good to go again. Anything bigger than a fox, deer, and you're gonna have a bad day. You hit an elk in your deuce a few years back, and it was held. Yeah, I bet. Elk, they're getting big too. But it was a good thing the bison was behind a fence, but we passed by him. That was neat to see. So yes, there's always the dealer's room where you can just buy all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and what else? What else did they have? Oh yeah, they had the place you could play your card games. So they probably had like some Magic the Gathering and such like that. I didn't get into too much into that. Fallout, the RPG, Call of Cthulhu, Avatar Legends, tabletop gaming convention there. So yeah, that was fun. There's Amish in the area. You know what a draft horse looks like. Hooves the size. Yeah, draft horses are frigging huge. They do exactly what they are meant for, and that's heavy pulling. And there's a lot of cosplayers going on there. Surprisingly, me and the wife were looking for what the most popular shows were, what people were cosplaying from. And surprisingly, it was Genshin Impact. A lot of people cosplaying from Genshin Impact. And then, we saw some people from Frieren, and there was some Soul Eater there, which was surprising to me, because it was such a while ago that it was. The convention was just the right size. It was fabric. It was not like a super huge one, and it wasn't tiny. It was big enough. It was held in a convention center. And there was enough. It wasn't so big that you were packed when you're trying to walk through places. It was great. It was like a mid-sized convention. You could always find seats at any of the panels you wanted to go to. There was a dance. Me and the missus went to the dance. And yeah, it was just a great old time. Is that a common species in the Rocky Mountains? What, a draft horse, James? In the Rocky Mountains? Or are you talking about elk? Elk for sure. I don't know about where fabric is down in Wyoming, but up here in the Rockies, lots of bighorn sheep, lots of elk, and obviously some moose, bears. Yeah, there's all that guys, all those guys hanging out. That's how you start the Quartering Starters channel, being the Magic the Gathering. Ah, I see. DJ, very impactful. Yeah, when you hit them with your car, it is impactful, all right. And the tickets weren't too expensive, and the same with the hotel room. Hotel wasn't that expensive. We stayed an extra day just so that we're not like rushing to check out and leave. We always do that. We'll stay an extra day just so we have a nice, we can wake up, take our time, and make the trip back, which was, 5 hours of driving. You probably have more elk than deer. Okay, I could see that. Because I think we do too in the Rockies here. Lots of elk. Lots. It's also because it's a national park too. If you go to Jasper or Banff, those are national parks. So nobody's going to be allowed to hunt in the national parks. Fox deer is from back home in California, or Northern California. Okay. Now he's a Coffee of the Gathering. You saw a huge herd of small deer at Bridgeport, California, where mountaineering school is. Oh, yeah. Small deer. Yes, I will have pictures up of some of the swag I got. There was some pretty cool stuff there at pretty good prices, too. That's another thing. There was a lot of merch, and it was fairly well priced. The only thing that was they had one video game stall there where a guy was selling video games. I saw a 3DS XL for $800, and I'm just like, buddy, there's just no way. Like you're asking way too much for a 3DS XL. Like there's no way somebody's gonna pay that much for it. I mean, I took a long, hard look at it. And I'm like, no, I can't. Even though I wouldn't mind a 3DS XL. No one believed you? Huge herd of tiny deer? Oh. That's their own damn fault for not believing you. What else did they have going on? That was about it, I guess. The calendar of events, things that went on. It was pretty cool when they ran around you on your way to mess hall duty at like 4 a.m. They were just running around you. Anyways, the wife and I are looking at going to more conventions because, it's the fun thing to do and something we like to do. So we'll be going to more. We've already booked our tickets and hotels for some of the other ones coming up. So all in all, it was a good time, and it wasn't that expensive. So it only took about 3/4 of a tank of fuel to get to where we needed to go, and then 3/4 of a tank back. So there you go. Not too shabby. Big V8 engine like my car has, and it did okay. It's all highway miles, though. Did about 70 miles an hour all the way there. So that's a good clip. You buy some of his coffee, but goddamn, it's expensive. So yeah, that's about it there, fellas. I think we'll wrap it up there. This weekend, there will be streams. I will be doing a video game stream. I will be doing an anime stream on Saturday, and on Saturday for game and Sunday for anime. So yes, don't miss it. I am back again. There is no convention, so it's all good. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the spread the word. Tell your friends. Let them know old Pop's here. There's other good channels to watch and enjoy, like Pacific 414 and our very own DJ Ronnie G. You can also watch Brandon the Anime Guy, or Carl at the RNG Podcast, or Tomby. There's the Angry Canadian or Nurpurial Lifeform. Everyone's favorite Penguin Punk Waddle. And don't forget Infinite Metal. He's on Kick and Twitch, and he does some excellent streaming of old games, retro games, and indie games. Must have been like 300 out for a morning run. If it were local whitetails, you'd have been afraid of being trapped. Oh man, I guess that's the thing, is don't get in their way. As I mentioned before, Saturday, Retro Game Day, I'm started a new game, and it was the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. So I am playing that for the Game Boy Color. It's been a while since I played a Zelda game, and I really want to get these ones done, because I don't think they get enough attention paid to them. They're the ones that were made by with Capcom as well. Those deer were all fawn size. Okay. So just little ones. Sunday, Anime Chat Day. Well, the start of a new month, and that means a new theme. And I picked the theme, and because you guys are here, you're going to hear what it's going to be. I have decided to pick classic literature. And if you're not sure what that means, just think to yourself, Arabian Nights, or Puss in Boots, or Anne of Green Gables, or King Arthur. That's what I mean by classic literature. So tune in for that on Sunday, Anime Chat. It's going to be all about classic literature done in anime style, which would make me want to watch it and learn about it if it was done in anime style. But that's what's coming up. And then we're back to Tuesday, more Trades Talk. I am off work right now. I am on my vacation. So I don't know if I'll have any fresh pictures or videos because I'm not currently at work. But we will come up with something, I'm sure. And I hope you guys will tune in. Remember, you always need to take some time off, recharge your batteries, take a break from work. It can be a lot. It can pile up on you. It can feel like a giant burden. So, yeah, always remember to take a break, which is what I'm doing now. 2 weeks of not thinking about work. So that's the thing. 300 duck-sized horses. Aris got 500 subs. Well, congrats, Aris. Good for you, man. 500, that's a good milestone. I'm trying to work my way up to 1,000. It's a slow go, that's for sure. Without being a drama farmer or a reactionary or somebody that's just unhinged, I guess this is the way it's going to be. You didn't know there was a species called fox deer until Fabric Folds wrote it, so you learned something. Hey! That's what I hope for. You know, you come to this channel, maybe learn some things. Maybe learn not to leave chocks under your trailer. You know, maybe look around. Take a little quick pre-trip walk around to make sure there's nothing stopping you from moving and you destroy it. The Odyssey, the Iliad, stuff from Homer. Hey? All right, you guys, I had a fun time. I hope you did as well, and I hope I will see you guys on the weekend where we can have some fun some more. You only got 200 on Oli engines? You know what? That's a good round number there, Fabric. I knew what you were getting at, James. Fox deer, yep, I knew it. But I hope to see you guys when I'm streaming in on the weekend. Don't forget, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 11 Eastern Time. And I hope to see you guys there. But until then, I've been Pop, and I am signing off.